Hi, I'm Natalie, and today I'm going to show you how to make the travel clutch pattern. It's my original pattern. Here are two. This one I've used for almost, well, actually, I don't know, maybe 9 years. And here's another sample that I made last night with the foam. I made some improvements. We've got a little binding back here. We've got a slip-in pocket. It does have a snap or Velcro closure, depending on whatever you want. And then inside it can hold 12 passports. So right now is a great time to start carrying your passports when you travel, because if you don't have real ID within the US, they can stop you. You won't be able to fly. I don't know what's going on. Anywho, I'm going to use the new SVC vinyl and some quilting cotton. We are shipping out a water-resistant canvas with the SVC this month, and that is because it does not require any interfacing at all. So you can skip a lot of the interfacing steps that I'm going to be doing here. But if you're using quilting cotton, like I did on my samples, use the interfacing. It does make a difference. Okay, let's go overhead. I want you to reference your pattern, please. There is a cutting chart on the second page towards the bottom, and it has everything you need. So let's go overhead, and I will cut these pieces out. All right, this one I want to do here. When I lived overseas, when Ramel was in the Air Force and I was his dependent, that's what they call it. We traveled whenever we could because it's much cheaper when you're already living over there. And carrying the passports, it's just something that everybody does. Okay, so there's my main body exterior piece. Now I'm going to cut the exterior pocket piece, and that's the one that's a slip-in on the outside for your boarding passes. I'm old school. I still print my boarding passes. It just makes me feel more secure. What if my phone dies, you know? And right away, I'm just going to fold this in half so that I remember. A lot of these pieces are roughly the same size, so it's helpful if you have little mini Post-its to, label them. Now the front flap piece. Okay, so I'm going to use my, oh, I've already got this cut. This is from last night when I did my run through. Although my corner isn't as good there, is it? I think I need to fix that little corner. Just a smidge. All right, there's my flap. I need a book binding strip. That's the most clear thing I could call it. If you're making this with vinyl, it's 1.5 inches. If you're making it with fabric, please do 3-inch strip. And now I can move on to the lining. So I'm going to use this quilting cotton. And I'm doing the quilting cotton so you see how to interface in case you want to use your stash up for this pattern. These make great gifts, especially in the summertime craft shows, because a lot of people are traveling, but they also sell really well. At least they did for me. But you have to have your sample with like a dummy passport in it or a piece of cardstock that says, put your passports in here, because otherwise people will ask you what it is. Okay, so I've got one lining main body here. Now I need the front flap, and I need 3 pockets. So I can cut some pockets from this one. Here's one. And I'm just going to go ahead and fold it again so I don't forget. I wonder if this one's tall enough. Nope, and a little too short. I'll cut my flap from that one. I'm going to move this off the edge a little so I can square up this bottom edge. And then cut it up here. And there are my 3 pockets. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now the flap. I'm going to try to use a straight edge here as much as I can. Let me straighten this up. You can also use the pattern piece. I must have left mine at home. All right, now let's go to the interfacing. So my soft vinyl is very scrunchy and not a lot of body. So I cut a 9-inch square piece of foam and I'm going to center it. But I like to use some spray adhesive so that it doesn't move around on me, especially if I'm going to quilt it. Let me show you really quickly a quilted version. This is a little bit smaller, about 1 inch smaller, and I quilted this one, except not the pocket. So it's kind of a fun look, but to get that puffiness, you need the foam. So I'm going to put that one in there. And then this one, I think I'm going to do foam for this as well. But let's keep it out of the seams. So on your pattern piece, I have a dashed line, and that's where you'll cut your foam out. Or you can cut it out like I did and then trim it way down. And again, I'm gonna spray baste it in there. This just helps, oh, I should have trimmed that top edge a little bit more. It just helps to keep it out of the seam allowances for this project, this particular project. You can absolutely keep it in if your machine can handle it. I just didn't want anyone feeling like, oh, I can't make this. You can. All right, now for the SF-101 or Simular. Let me get my ironing pad. And I'm gonna lay this interfacing so the shiny side is up or the bumpy side is up. And this will be for my quilting cotton piece. Now I'm gonna trim away those edges first. Sometimes interfacing can shrink a bit once you've fused it on. And that's okay, just make sure you don't have any wrinkles anywhere showing through to your fabric. My iron is on high heat. I like to do this from the front or the right side first, and then I hit it again from the back. All right, looks good. Now for the pockets. So I've got these 3 pockets. I'm going to press them first. This will be my front side. See how the moons are going the right direction. So I folded that in half and I've got this nice crease. So I'm going to lay my interfacing inside here to meet that crease. Fold this back down, and then I'll fuse it. And I'll trim away the excess. And do the same thing for the next 2 more pockets. Now I have the bumpy side up. To me, I don't know if it really matters, but that's just what I'm doing because I want this side that's facing outward on the clutch to be the perfect side. And then we're going to top stitch those in just a second. Now this one I cut differently. That kind of thing doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, please change and cut all your directionals directional. Is someone going to give me flack over this? Maybe what I should do is a different color for the middle pocket. So when I used to sell these, I would seriously scrap bust, and every pocket was a different fabric, and the lining was a different fabric, and then the outside was a different fabric, and people loved it. So it does not have to be matchy-matchy. Let's see what I've got here. This has navy in it. What should I do? Oh man, now I don't know. But you know what? If I'm gonna send this to Moda as my sample, I better keep it all Moda fabric. So I'm gonna do a pocket with this ruby star. That's what I'm gonna do. See how it's fun to just change things on the fly? That's what I love about sewing. You can do whatever you want. So I'm sort of cheating here as I cut this piece out. I'm not technically measuring it. I'm just using my original pocket as a template. All right, there we go. That guy is now scrap. And this guy will be my middle pocket. Try and break things up a bit. All right. So I still have to interface my flap, but I'm gonna do that in just a minute. And I think the exterior pocket, yeah, I do. But first, we're gonna take these 3 pockets and I'm just gonna top stitch them really quick. Now remember, I'm using a pink thread because this is a tutorial. You do whatever makes you happy, whether it blends or pops out. And this seam allowance is closer to the edge. It's more like 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, but again, don't stress it. Just do your best. So my inside 3 pockets are ready to rock. 1, 2, 3, boom. Now this is the exterior pocket. Soft vinyl. So I'm probably going to do 2 layers of SF101 on this one instead of a foam. So what I'll do, let me trim this guy down. I'll fuse one and then I'll fuse the second layer. Here we go. All right, here's this one, second layer. And I'm facing it down this time because you can iron from the wrong side on vinyl, but You don't want to touch the iron to the right, the outside fabric. So that looks good. Now I'm going to grab my Teflon pressing sheet and press this, and then I'll trim it up. Yes, looks good. All right, let's top stitch this one. There it is. All right, now let's interface this guy. Looks like I am missing my SF-101 piece for this. No worries. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna improvise. Oh, I have some of this left. This might be even cuter as the lining for the flap. What do you think? I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I really like this. I'll utilize those straight edges. And this is a little bit heavier linen, so I'm not gonna have to interface this one. Okay. Now we are set. Now the cool thing about soft vinyl is you can actually use a pin. You can use pins with it. It'll heal. So let me see where we're at in the pattern so I don't get you all discombobulated. So we did number 1. We placed our soft and stable. I should mark this off as I go. Quilting is optional. It does elevate the look a smidge. So, Shep, do you want me to quilt this? Let's do it. It's just the same as we do with the quilted pouches. I'm gonna get a longer ruler because otherwise I risk having wonky lines. Corner to corner. I think I've had this ruler for 15 years. It's starting to fade. I'm doing inch lines. I'm going to sew these first and then I'll go down the other side. Now, for whatever reason, my needle doesn't always catch when I start sewing the vinyl, so I have to back up. I have to do that reverse lock stitch. You don't need to if yours catches right away, because all of these edges will be sewn again. All right, let's go to this corner to corner. Always start in the middle, even when you're sewing, because you don't want the fabric to crumple or be warped. All right, let's do these. Yeah, see there, it didn't pick up. All right, let's do the other half. 1 inch mark right on that sewn line. Okay, let's finish this up. And just remember, my foam is centered. Awesome. So there's my exterior main body piece. Now I could do the same with the flap. I guess I better so that it matches. gorgeous. Okay, so we've got our exteriors. Here's my exterior pocket. I wonder if I should quilt this too. I probably should. Let's do it so I don't regret it. All right, there it is. Feel free to trim off the threads. Okay, so I've got my pieces done. I've got my 3 inner pockets here, my lining. Let's see what step we're on. We did step 2. We did step 3. I just quilted that pocket. We did step 4. Oh, we have to do part of step 4 still. We're gonna put our flap together. So you're gonna take both your lining and your exterior flap pieces and place them right sides together. You can use pins or clips here. And my exterior is slightly smaller, so I'm gonna sew looking at this side. Put a couple pins in here. We're gonna leave this edge open and sew all the way around here. Leave this open. All right, now take your pinking shears. Let's see. Pinking shears are the ones with the jagged edge. And we're going to trim down the seam allowance. This is also notching the curves at the same time, so that our curves pop. Now flip it right sides out. Roll the edges back so just your exterior is showing. Sometimes on edges like this, you just have to manipulate it a little bit. Gorge. Now we're going to press. And then I can press from the lining side because this is fabric. And I'm really mashing it down there. Mash it really good. All right, now we're gonna top stitch around those edges. You can baste this if you want to. It's your choice. Sometimes it's a little easier if you do when we're putting it together. And you don't have to top stitch this curve if you like the look without it. Now if I'm gonna baste this, I'm gonna turn my stitch up to 5. And so across. Now immediately I'm turning my stitch length back down because I know myself and I'll forget. All right, so we did, now we're done with 4. Now we need to do, let's see, for the lining main body pieces, we did 5. Oh, yay, we're already putting this together. This is still step 5. So we've got our lining main body piece and we're gonna lay that on the work surface. The first pocket, you're gonna measure 2 inches down from that top raw edge and place the correct side facing you right there. Pin it in place. Check this placement a few times. Make sure it's really straight across. I'm gonna check mine again. Sorry, I have to get my head in the way there for a second. And now we're gonna sew the sides and across the bottom. This will never show, so don't worry about these raw edges. I'm using about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, give or take. It's really lackadaisical here, easy. It's forgiving. I love a project that's forgiving. All right, pocket number 2. See that top edge of the pocket? We're gonna place the 2-inch mark right at the top of that pocket, straight across to place our second pocket. So 2 inches down from the first one. Oh gosh, I had it on half. I had it on 2.5. Don't do what I did. Do 2 inches. I'm glad I caught that. Okay, and repeat, sides and bottom. All right, and same thing again. 2 inches right at the top edge of the second pocket, and you're gonna place your last pocket. Why am I not seeing that right? There, 2 inches. So this should be hitting the bottom of the lining main body piece. See that? And again, sides and bottom. There it is. Let's give it a press. Make sure everything's looking really good. That's steps 5 and 6. So now we're on to step 7. We're going to fold this in half and make a centering crease. You could also measure 5 inches in and draw a line if that's easier for you. Here, I'll just show you really quick. I'm going to get some chalk. See that? And what we're going to do is sew from the bottom to the top. And now the pocket is divided in half. Remove your lines if you made any. Okay, so now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 passports can fit in here, or other documents, or whatever you want. So we did steps 5, 6, and 7. And you can see the diagram there. Step 8, place the exterior pocket onto the exterior main body piece, 3/4 of an inch. So let me make sure you have the top of your pocket here. This is the top of my pocket. And I'm going to put my ruler on here at 3/4 of an inch. This is important. And then slide my pocket up. And that's where it's going to be sewn onto. Make sure it's oriented the right way. You want the top of the pocket here and the raw edges down here. We're going to cover those raw edges in just a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do is sew the sides and across the bottom. All right, so there's our pocket. Now we're gonna take our strip, remember this guy, and I'm gonna fold it in half. If you're using fabric, you're gonna fold it like double fold binding, where you bring the edges in to meet in the center and then fold it again. But since I'm using non-fraying vinyl, I can just fold it one time. I'm gonna take my Teflon ironing sheet, reach my iron, and fold it over. If you're using vinyl that you're really, oops, I messed that up down there. Let me show you what to do if you don't want to iron. You can put a strip of double-sided sticky tape in here. Now sometimes when it's cold in my room, this doesn't adhere very well, so I just briefly touch it with the iron. Now it's melted onto there. And then I can peel the paper away really easily. Bring it over and press. Don't stretch it. Okay, so there's that strip. Now we're gonna lay this. Let's make a dot 5 inches in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's pretty much where I stitched. Now aim for the center of your bookbinding strip. The middle of your strip is on that 5-inch mark, okay? Now to help us out, because this vinyl is kind of slick, I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape to hold it while I sew it down. I'm just going to go right down the center. Adhere that on. Peel this away. Okay, and back to measuring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want the folded edge covering my stitching and the raw edge facing that way. That's just personal preference. Now I'm gonna sew down. You could sew like 3 rows or 4 rows of stitching. I just do 1 at the top and 1 down at the bottom. This helps train the case to sit nicely too. Now this side. Okay, see what I mean? That will be the edge. See the fabric one here? It's like a book binding. Okay, we're almost there. So that was step 9 and 10. Steps 9, 8, 9, and 10, basically. Okay, oh, you know what? This is where I reordered some steps. So I got to remember this is 11. 11, place the remaining, or place 2 cam snaps. Oh yeah, we have to measure this. This is super important that you measure this correctly. So measure it twice. You can attach Velcro if you prefer, but I like the look of the snaps. So while I've got this piece here, I am going to measure and mark placement of my cam snaps. I don't place my snaps on the flap until this project is all sewn together, and then I place them last. And the reason I do that is because too many times it's just a smidgen off and then the case closes wonky, and I don't want that to happen to you. So this is what we're gonna do. Let's go overhead. From this binding, we're gonna go 1.5 inches in or down and 3 inches in. So how can I show you this easily? 1, 2, 3, so I'm down here. And then I'm gonna go 1.5. So I want it right there. Right there. And what I'm gonna do, since I'm here, you know what? I might use pink since I have pink thread. What I'm gonna do is press the cap from the wrong side right now so I don't lose my positioning. And I just poke that cap through. See it there? And then I'm gonna go down to the next one. 1, 2, 3. Wait, no, this way 3. 1, 2, 3, right here. And then 1.5 inches right there. So now I'm gonna poke this cap through. Now you can also hand set these if you prefer a hand set tool. I do not. I like that table press. So I'm gonna set those 2 snaps right away. And I use my cam snap table press. This is what it looks like. I bought it 15 years ago. Crazy. And I put one of the mates up here, place my passport holder, press, and it's on. Now I'm gonna do the same for the other side. I have a tutorial on YouTube if you wanna see this more in depth. Okay, so those are placed. Now, before I set the ones on the flap, I have to change my die out because it has to be the mating piece of the snap, if that makes sense. All right, and that's last, so we'll just move that right out of the way. so that was step 11. Now we're on 12, where we place our flap. So make sure that once we go overhead here, make sure that your passport wallet is orientated correctly. Your flap goes on the side with the open pocket, and you're going to center it. So if it helps, fold this in half and give it a pinch. And you can mark it if you want to. I think that was it. Yep. And then this one in half, or measure 5 inches down and match your markings. Okay. Now I'm going to use clips to hold this in place while I sew it down. Exterior to exterior. You can turn it this way and make sure it looks good and even. And let's sew right across the top here. I'm going to turn it back like the diagram. Okay, so that was step 12. Now 13, place the lining and the exterior right sides together. So I like to do it this way and I flip it over. I don't know, it's just how I am. All right, and place clips all around. Looks like I didn't cut that correctly there. Just trim it up. And on this, we're gonna take more like a half an inch or a scant half an inch seam allowance, just to make sure we're covering all previous stitching that we might have done. Okay, here we go. Now on the flap side, this is the flap side. We're gonna leave this side open. So what I do is I come up and I sew to here and backstitch. As I'm coming up this side, I sew to here and backstitch. I am not sewing over the area with the flap. We're gonna leave that open to turn right sides out. So I'm gonna start here, all the way around, and end here. Stopping. Now we're going to trim our corners and a little bit of the seam allowance so the layers behave nicely once we turn it. Here comes where the flap is, so I'm not going to trim that. So it's open. Let's flip it. Bring your expert point and press tool in here and make sure to press out all your corners. And along the seams. You can also use that purple thing if you've purchased that from us in the past. It's what I'm using here because I took my point and press tool home. I'm actually writing some patterns from home. It's nice. All right, let's give it a press, and then we're gonna tuck the raw edges in, and we're almost done. Mash it down here. Has really nice body, and it's not hard to sew because we left the interfacing out at the seams. Just so nice. Okay, now we're gonna tuck this under. If it helps you, absolutely, double-sided sticky tape is your best friend in the sewing arena. Or at least it is for me. This is step 15, I believe. Ugh. Okay, I gotta hit it with the iron because it's too cold in here. Give it a minute. If it's not pulling up in one place, start somewhere else. There we go. Now I'm going to roll that under and press it. It'll hold it while I'm stitching this closed. I'm going to have to probably get my head in the way for a minute here. Sorry. This comes right up in case you press it wrong and pull it up and it's sitting there. It peels right off like a sticker. Don't even stress. Okay, we're gonna sew this opening shut, and then if you want to, you can top stitch around the entire case. I don't think I'm going to because my bobbin is white thread and I don't want that showing on the outside. Remember to change your bobbin thread because I like to look at it from this side as I'm sewing this shut. I'm going to grab my stiletto. Just to really hold things in place. If you need to whack this with your hammer first, it can make a difference. Feel free. Let out some angst. That's closed. Awesome. Remember, you can absolutely go all the way around. I usually do, but I just don't want to spend the time changing my threads, okay? Don't judge. Trim all your threads. Give it a final press. Let's check our snap placement. We're almost finished. We just have to place our snaps here. So I like to bring this up, make sure it's how I want it to sit. Pretty good. I'm gonna hold the layers with some clips for the meantime while I measure where to put my final snaps. Now remember, if this is filled with passports, you want a little bit of give here, okay? So I'm gonna press this down, make 2 indentations so I can see where to place my final 2 snaps. I'm gonna use this friction pen. Here's one. I think, yeah, this one is right here. Okay, so let me do the final 2 snaps and we are done. Let's get the table press. Now I have to change that die. So I have my little bike tool here. And it's just an Allen wrench, a little twist, and it pops right out. Put in the other one. And I would say take a minute and make sure that you're applying the mate on the right side. So the caps will show on the outside. The mate has to be on the inside so it mates with the other snap. I've done that too many times to count, so that's why I'm telling you about it again. All right, let me find yep, there's that one. And what I'm gonna do is push this through so that my post is poking out in exactly the correct spot. This will prevent it from moving around on you. So that pokey bit is poking through. And then I'm gonna place it. There's that. Now I'm gonna put the mate die in the press and take the remaining cap and do the same thing. Pressing this through. And if you can't get it through, just place it on the machine so it's not gonna move at all. And then press it. That works too. All right, now I can take the clips off and I can close my clutch. Woohoo! There it is. Well done. Pocket here. Snap flap closure, so clean and neat. All your passports and documents can go in here. Nothing's getting lost in this baby. And then your boarding pass, if you print it like me, can go back here. Or your cell phone. A cell phone fits back here as well. No, I wouldn't walk around like this with it, but if this is in your purse, you know right where your phone is, you know where all your passports are the things you can't lose ever, right? On a trip, you cannot lose that stuff. So there you are. Now back in the day, I would say 2010, I was selling these for $30 each. So that was 15 years ago. I think you can do 50, maybe more now, just depends. A lot depends on display and explanation. So if you're gonna take these to a craft show, I would make little cute like cardboard passports and write the name passport and put them in all the pockets. So people don't ask you 8,000 times, what is this? What is this for? What do you use this for? I say. There it is. Excellent job. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sewing with me, and I'll see you next time. Peace up sewing.